The ATEM Mini Pro ISO is incredible. I just hooked it up, been playing with it for a little while, and what this thing can do in a small footprint like that, as far as the encoding, the ISO recording, the quality that it takes in and out, it's crazy, to be honest with you. But there's one thing that Blackmagic can do that would send this to a whole different level, and I'll tell you what that is. So let's go over the switcher. This is a 4-input switcher with a media pool that has ISO recording built in, audio built in, one downstream key, one DVE, picture-in-picture, chroma key, and just a lot more. It has a media pool, media player. It's crazy. So I'm coming from a TriCaster 40. I use that for a production I was involved in for a while. And the TriCaster 40, I have to say, is a really, really, really powerful and pretty amazing product. But so is the price. It's around $5,000 without the control panel. With the control panel, you're talking $7,000. For $895, what this thing does, it's pretty phenomenal. I have been involved with the TriCaster 40 with live sports, with corporate events. So having that built-in media player that plays video back is very, very important. But there's a way around it with the ATEM Mini Pro ISO. So let me show you this, and that's not what Blackmagic can do to make this more powerful, but I'm just going to show you this real quick. So this is my setup here. I've got 3 cameras. The one you're looking at now, I've got, let me just cut camera 2, which is our studio set. And the one you're looking at previously was the camera on me. So what I have is I have 3 cameras, and then where it says camera 3 here, out of my Mac over here, I've got ProPresenter. So if I wanted to play a video, for instance, and I've got audio follows video on 3, if I go back to auto in here and I'll hit play, and then I'm going to dissolve to this. Then that's how I would get video feeds in. So what I would do is with ProPresenter, you can set that up just like I was able to in TriCaster. You bring your video clips in, and then you can set it to where at the end of the one clip, you either want it to stop or if you want it to go to the next. We would cut to a series of commercials, and I could just hit a button and it would auto transition from my live feed to the, what they call the DDR, or the video media pool, and it would play those in order. And then when the last one was going to play and it hit that endpoint, it would automatically transition to the camera that was on preview. That was really cool. You're not going to be able to do that with this, but you can easily manually transition back. But in order to get that input in, I have to lose a camera. I have 4 cameras here, but I'm only able to see 3 because if I wanted to get my Mac or ProPresenter or whatever into that, I would have to lose an input because it's all hardware. What I think that Blackmagic can do that would completely change the game is to integrate NDI into this. The biggest weakness that this has is it only has one USB port. It only has one HDMI output port. So with NDI, you would be able to send anything in and out, and you would actually gain additional slots. So with the TriCaster 40, it had 4 HDMI inputs, but then it had a couple additional network inputs. So I could bring in my computer feed through NDI into my network input and not lose a camera. Then I can also bring in, let's just say we were doing a video conference with Skype. Skype and NDI work really well together. You could export your Skype feed without any of the on-screen controls or anything. It would give you a really clean feed with just a Skype logo, and you could import that. So I could, in the TriCaster 40, I can have 6 sources with 4 physical inputs. It's not hard to do that, I wouldn't think. I've heard that that's not realistic to ask Blackmagic for that because NewTek's a competitor. Well, that's true. NewTek is a competitor, but so is vMix, and vMix is integrating NDI. I'm not sure if there's a licensing cost or anything like that, but I would pay the fee for that to be able to bring in some additional network sources. And there's a lot you can do. With one HDMI output, you're pretty much relegated to using that output to have your multi-view. But if you had NDI, you could output that, let's just say, to an Apple TV so your talent could see what the program out would be. Let's just say that you're doing something which I just showed, and you were going to roll a clip. Well, the talent could see that because you could choose like NDI out to an Apple TV that can be set up so they could see that. So there's a lot of power that NDI would have. For instance, with NewTek, I had the virtual input app on my Mac. And if I clicked it, it would show me the sources that are on the network with NDI. Now, I'll just talk about the network, because in order to do that, I had to get a gigabit switch, which you have to pretty much have a gigabit switch anyway to connect your Blackmagic ATEM Mini Pro with your computer with the control panel interface. So it's already working within the Ethernet parameter. But what I would do is I would choose NDI, and with the TriCaster, I could select camera 1, camera 2, camera 3, camera 4, or the program mix out. So I could use that as a webcam, the NDI, with Skype, because Skype, like I said, Skype and Zoom and all that. Well, I've used Skype and Zoom. So when I say all that, I'm not sure some of the others, but I would assume that you could choose NDI as your source. And so I would set my source, what I wanted as far as for my virtual input, I would set it as program mix. Then I would go into Skype or Zoom, I've used both, and selected NDI as my webcam source. So now when the show's going on or the interview's going on, the program mix comes across on the guest screen. So that would be very, very cool. And so let's just say the Skype output would go back in, and it would be a clear, you would not have to basically capture the screen with certain user interface elements in it. It would just be clear through NDI into the TriCaster. So I may be wrong, but I don't see any reason that would not work with a software update with the ATEM Mini Pro ISO. And like I said, if it is a licensing cost, pass it along to the people that would purchase that as an add-on option, because I would do it 10 times out of 10. I mean, it would be something that would make this already amazing piece of gear even better. So the things that I like about this is, I mean, I have Blackmagic cameras, the fact that you can control them, the fact that it's tally, the fact that a camera operator can see the on air when they're on is crazy. The fact that you can do that. The audio, to have a compressor and limiter and some real-time dynamic controls is really, really powerful. There's so many things in this that's great. I would love to have 2 downstream keyers. I would absolutely love to have that. That way you can have on one DSK, you can have your logo, your bug in a corner, and then you still have another DSK to do lower thirds. That would be incredible. I'm not sure if that's hardware or software, but that would be cool. And it doesn't really matter about the buttons, because you can't add or can't enable a DSK without the software control panel anyway. So you can just make a second DSK there. And as far as having the network inputs, there's already some functionality that you can't access, like a DSK here, that you have to access on the control panel. So I see no reason to not be able to add that as far as on this software control, having your 2 additional network inputs. You already have 1 button grayed out. As far as, let me just change this over real quick to this right here. We'll go to camera 3, and camera 3 is here. So right in this area, you already have 1 camera grayed out. So that could be a network input. Color 1 and 2, kind of unnecessary. So you can have network 1 and network 2, move black over and have color 1, and you're fine. And so that would be where your network inputs would be. And again, your DSK over here, you can put DSK2 down here. And so to me, I think that would be really, really, really powerful and a great way to be able to add additional sources when they're coming in and to be able to export sources out. I've watched some videos where some of these questions have been asked, and I just wanted to give some of the experience that I've had with a TriCaster very similar to this and working with NDI, and it solves a lot of those problems. And again, I think it could solve the problem very, very easily of the lack of 2 USB ports and the lack of your HDMI ports. So to me, I think we're very, very close. And what I want to do now is to plug in the TriCaster and show you what that looks like. All right, so we're back and we have the TriCaster 40 connected to the same cameras, the same everything. And so let me show you what this setup looks like here. So I'm going to go to 2 here. And if you can see up here, what I'm going to do is I'm just going to record it on this camera too so you can see. So I've got 4 inputs. On input 1, I've got my camera. Input 2, a camera. Input 3, a camera. Input 4, a camera. 3's could be a camera. I just don't have it hooked up. So then input 5, that's it's coming off my computer, which is Skype connected to it. 6 is my active connect or active speaker on Skype. Both 5 and 6 are coming through an NDI. I'm going to show you that in a minute. Then my DDR pool is down here. That's my playback, my video playback pool, which is down there. So I am going to show you what I have here. Let's switch to input 5, which is my camera and what I have on my laptop. So this is Skype. So I have a computer over there that I have a different screen name for. And so this is actually a live Skype call going on right now. That's the set back there and everything like that. This is my monitor. This is my TriCaster, or my NDI video monitor. Down here, I can pick any source that I want. So if we want to see input 1, I can see it. NDI is sending that automatically from the TriCaster. And so I've got all these different video feeds that are coming this way. And it's pretty cool. So if I go to the mix, you're going to see the infinite deal, because that is basically repeating over and over and over, because you're seeing my screen and that's just continuing. So let's just say, let me go to 4. Here we go. So that's me on the camera coming through the TriCaster back out to NDI to this program, which is called NDI Monitor. So what we can do now is if I switch and go live to my active speaker, which is input 6, that's what it looks like. Now it's coming from Skype on my computer, and all I said is to use NDI. So it's coming through full frame. Everything looks great. It just has a Skype logo in it, and you don't have to like capture your screen or anything else like that. I'm going to show you what NewTek does as far as to get this view. So I'm going to click on input 6 here. And if I scroll down to this is my Skype active speaker. Now these are the NDI that I can take as a virtual input. Here's my scan converter, which is an NDI program on my laptop that enables me to capture my laptop or part of it. So Skype local or active speaker, and that's what you're seeing here. So the active speaker is right there, and that's coming from the active speaker through Skype. So my Skype call is here, and I can bring that in. So let me cut back to camera 4. So that is really what I think would be awesome if Blackmagic can do for that. So let me go back to this camera input 2. Sorry, these aren't my normal camera inputs. So what I have here that I replicated before on Pro Presenter is down here is my DDR, or my media player, my video media player. So for like football, I had all the athletes in here and I recorded them on green screen. And then let's just pick one, and then I'm going to go and make it live. And so I can, once I click that, then it plays back live. Then I can, come back to 4, which is me, go back to 2 and show you. So if I had a list of commercials, here's my commercial bin, and I wanted to just start, playing a commercial, all I did was just, click that DDR1, and the commercial automatically started playing with sound and everything like that. So I'm going to hit pause, but that's kind of what it did, and it was super, super cool. But I can replicate that to an extent, not that easy, with my laptop and a program kind of like Pro Presenter or something like that. So I really, really like what TriCaster was able to do. Let me show you let me go back to this screen here. So I'm not sure you can see it real well, but we have 2 downstream keys. So here's my graphic pool. So let's just say that I'm going to take nope. Okay. So here's on GFX2. So I can, roll through whatever I had, graphics and different things like that. Down here, let's go take that off. And then that was, I don't know why. I'm not used to working on this. So as far as without the control panel is pretty easy, but let me cut back there. But yeah, I mean, I think really if we could integrate the NDI into this, again, I'm not doing anything different than what the ATEM Mini Pro ISO was. I mean, I've got 3 cameras plugged into HDMI. Let me just record this and show it to you. So I've got 3 cameras coming into to the So I got 3 cameras coming in right here, 1, 2, and 3. These are my lines in from my soundboard, but I've got just 1 HDMI out, and that's going to the multi-view monitor here. The only thing I have coming out of the computer is just Ethernet to my gigabit switch right here. So everything's running pretty much the same as it did before, just with the black. It's all software at this point. And again, vMix is doing it, and there's a variety of other applications that are using NDI. So like I said, this is how you would bring like a live Skype guest in. This is how you would bring your computer in, or a different video source, or something that you wanted to bring in from this. If you wanted to bring, heck, you could even bring, I'm doing this at the exact same time, this H2R graphics over Chroma. So what I could do here is with Scan Converter. I think on Scan Converter, you can choose the window, which, let me change this to input 5 so you can see what I'm doing. So here I am with H2R graphics. I just opened it up. I have my Chroma screen. So if you come down to this program called Scan Converter, within Scan Converter, you can choose H2R graphics. I want to see this screen. This is, I'm still running the Skype call. We're good. And I'm still getting the feed. So we're sending all this stuff back and forth via NDI. And so this is my H2R graphics. And then let's go down to options here. I'm just going to bring up another lower third. Keep it on, right? So now with this program we have called Scan Converter, I can take this and say with H2R graphics, I want to just focus in on this screen. So it blows that screen up. And then I could come back here with, let me come back to input 2 and show you this. So now I'm in input 5, I'm going to enable live matte, which does your green screen keying. So that's keyed. So now I'm going to assign input 5 as a DSK, like part of a downstream key. And if I hit take, then now I have graphics coming in. So I'm just saying that if they did this potentially, that's how you can get graphics into through H2R without taking up an HDMI input. You could do that through NDI as well. So there's a lot of power to this program through NDI sources. I'll just dissolve that out and come back to let me just go back to input 5 and I'll show you what I'm doing. Input 5 here. So I'm going to go to my scan converter and then I'm going to tell that to go back to my desktop. So now that's back to my desktop. And the crazy thing is even through my desktop feed, it's still keying that out. So if I come back up, let me go back to 2. So if I come back up and turn this live matte off, then that's really what it is. So it's still keying all that. So back to input 5 is my desktop. I'm just going to go ahead and close H2R graphics for now. But again, Skype's going on. This is going on. It's sending this desktop feed back to the switcher. So NDI, let me go back to here. So NDI is incredibly powerful. I think you can do it with a software update. Again, if it's a licensing fee or anything like that, I'd pay to make it available because that way you can keep 4 hard wired physical inputs connected, but then you can also gain a couple more virtual inputs or network inputs. And to me, with how I use it with video calls, with Skype and different things like that, it would be very, very useful. And again, it makes up for the lack of a USB port or webcam out on the back, only one, and it makes up for the lack of an HDMI in the back too, because with something like this, let's just say this NDI video monitor, this is what you could send to an Apple TV that is over the NDI network, and you can show it to your talent. So it's super powerful, and there's a variety of ways that you could use this. So I think if we can get this to have NDI, it would make up for the lack of these. And it would make this one heck of a piece of equipment. It already is, don't get me wrong, but we're limited by physical connections. We could eliminate that physical connection area and just go crazy with it. Like I said, you can send and receive. I'm doing all this stuff on my laptop, and it is very, very powerful. So with all that being said, that is my suggestion, and hopefully we can get NDI as part of this, and I would absolutely love that. So thanks for watching.